Our next speaker is Vivian Helliwell. She is from the Pacific Coast Federation of Fishermen's Associations, and today she's going to be talking to us about solutions in the coastal fishery, coastal policy as well.
But not fishers.
Not fishers, no.
All right.
I have a problem with the word policy. There's police in it. And we don't like to be told what to do. It's an American tradition to have freedom to pursue happiness and business. And so we would like to have voluntary fishing regulations so that we can fish as much as we want to for our families and for our businesses, what's good for us. Well, that's not going to happen. So regulatory certainty would be nice. And I know that some of you are going through the same fear and distress that the fishing families went through 15, 20 years ago as our industry was being shut down. You cooperate, you comply, you go to meetings. There's layers and layers of requirements, and it's horrible. So we'd like to find other ways to find solutions, and that's why we're here. I did find, though, that fear of change was worse than the actual change when it came about, that we were able to adapt in some ways, find other ways to make a living. A lot of people lost considerable investment that they had. But the state of the fisheries shows that we need substantive changes in the river. And one of the big issues is related to the dams. And that is in negotiations and is going to be decided by an agency. And so we do want to explore all the options there, make sure that the fish are cared for, and that communities have input on that as well. It doesn't really work to have, for long-term solutions, to just have big losers, because it just makes conflict go on and on. So another big problem that we see this wonderful work that's been done and is being done on all parts of the river by folks who really care. And we're running up against a time when there's a lack of funding. When the Klamath Task Force was dissolved, they were responsible for making a lot of the funding happen for these projects that you see today. And there's also big budget cuts. Many of the agencies are losing staff. The future funding of the RCDs, the watershed groups, the Bureau, Fish and Wildlife, National Marine Fisheries Service, and the Forest Service are all being cut back. So key funding that made a lot of the restoration that we've done so far possible is going away, and that needs to be addressed. Hopefully we can work on that together. We have lack of agreement on what the problems are in the river still, what the science is, and what the goals are. So it's going to take some more time and more getting together. The more that we learn about each other's way of life and businesses and the particulars that are needed, the more that we can reach long-lasting solutions and care for each other's communities. The status quo is always a safer feeling choice, but it leaves a lot of people as losers, so that's not really a good idea either. From the agencies, we'd like to see them work together better, and there's been some effort in that direction in terms of developing standard protocols for monitoring, and so on. We still have separate processes going on at the same time that people have to respond to, and it takes a lot of time and effort, as you know, to even get people to the hearings for the public input, to write responses, to be involved, to get your communities involved. It's expensive, and it comes out of our home lives and our businesses as well. So we're hoping that the agencies will continue to work better together, that they will include all parties in the decisions on policy that they make. And the downriver communities are still being left out of some of the processes. So we hope that will be improved as well. And then we ask the agencies to support the decisions that we come up with together, which might not be so hard for them to do once we develop those better. Now, I wish I could tell you now what some of these solutions are going to be, but I don't know yet. I know that after years of being involved, I'm still seeing only parts of the elephant. And that whenever I get together with people like this and talk with people from other economic viewpoints, I learn pieces of information that change my point of view and my opinion about how to reach solutions. I want to thank all the people from the Klamath Basin for all the work that you've been doing to try to get the water for the fish and the conditions that are needed for fish, because the coastal communities and the tribes along the river have been very economically distressed. So we hope that we can continue to work together on that. I'd like to propose that we have a cultural exchange program where we continue to invite each other to our festivals and our tours, so that I can go and see what it's like to round up some cattle and what it's like daily on the ranch, what your economic issues really are. And I'd like to invite you to come out to the coast for crab festivals and oyster festivals, and maybe go out fishing on a boat on a nice day. Wouldn't be much fun for you on a regular day. I want to thank the Oregon Trollers for the work that they've done on a genetic study that will help us so that we can identify the fish that we're fishing on in a more real-time fashion. And they've done a pilot program. Hopefully that'll help us to be able to fish and not impact stocks that are in distress. So the water issues on the river, there's not even agreement that there's not enough water for fish. But it's pretty clear that the fish are stressed and not doing well. The water boards have identified several specific items that are considered limiting for the fish in terms of temperature, dissolved oxygen, and we know that there's like a legacy sediment problem as well that the scientists were talking about, where the juvenile fish can't get up to the cold water refuges. Deep pools are filled in, so on. These things take a long time to fix. And hopefully we can address them incrementally over time and in enough time to keep having some fish. Because, you know, we really want to have a living river for the future with fisheries and thriving farm communities. Do the fishing people need thriving farm communities? Yes, we do. And so we can help you and you can help us. And I want to finish with a quote from Kelly Hullum from Klamath Falls. After a women's Klamath meeting that we had in Klamath, she wrote to all of us and said, after the talking that we'd done and sharing stories, she said, "When I think of the river, I will see your hearts and faces." I was very touched by this, and I hope that we can continue to develop our one basin community, which now extends up and down the coast into Oregon and California, the fishing communities. Thank you very much.